stream too. Also, we're now up to discussion by Mr. Garstein. Welcome, Mr. Garstein. We've received some speaking notes and a plan, and I suspect there's a larger copy of that in front of us. So we're really in your hands to take us through your response to the district plan and what changes you would like us to make.
Kia ora koutou katoa. I'm Tony Garstein. I'm a retired lawyer, a Masterton resident for 45 years, and an amateur ecologist with a special interest in the rivers and streams in and around the Masterton township. Narrow background compared to some of you folks. Kirsten Brown, who's here today, presented to the panel on the 8th of August, and I collaborated with Kirsten to produce the Tuna Highway map that we just had showing you on the table in front of you. Did that in 2019, and we've been updating it since then. It was primarily to locate the names of the previously lost streams. That's been degraded and almost lost. I assume you've read my written submission, so now I just want to elaborate on the importance of the ancient Masterton waterways, and I welcome questions. In my December 2023 submission, I've endeavoured to advocate for the awa, the streams and rivers, and all the fish and invertebrates living in the fresh water. And I'll refer you to that large pamphlet on some of the freshwater fish that are in all of these streams. The Tuna Highway map is intended to raise public awareness. I'm hopeful that subdividers, resource planning advisors and council staff will reverse the trend previously downgraded the Masterton. Our awa may be the oldest dynamic system still working in the Masterton district. The Tararua Range on our western horizon is where it all starts. The many Wairarapa rivers, the main Wairarapa River, the Romahanga, is where it all ends, in the ocean at Palliser Bay. Our mountain range has been pushing upwards for at least 2 million years. Rain's been falling in the Tararuas and finding its way to the Romahanga for a similar time. Our streams are tributaries of one river, the Romahanga. Any harm we cause to the tributaries going through Masterton does harm to the Romahanga. After the most recent Tararua Ice Age, about 20,000 years ago, large amounts of rock was pushed from the Tararuas to the Wairarapa Valley floodplain. Geologists call the surface in our valley the Wahine surface. It is 20,000 years old. Anyone living in the Wairarapa knows that digging into the ground is hard work, all gravel and rounded boulders. Masterton was built right on the floodplain, then called Makova, with its many streams, swamps and forests in 1855. Māori may have lived in and around Masterton beside the streams for about 700 years. We have a few remaining indigenous trees around Masterton, still growing by the streams after 800 to 1,000 years. The fish in our streams have probably been in occupation for 20,000 years. Our streams have been flowing persistently from the Tararuas to the Romahanga for that same 20,000 years. They are assisted in their flow by the ancient groundwater flow beneath them. The surface streams are recharged with water from the groundwater system. The streams and the groundwater are inextricably linked. We have three major fault lines. The Masterton Fault travels right through the Masterton Township. Streams starting on the fault line, where the groundwater bursts to the surface, include Solway, Fleet Street, Kurupuni and Waiwaka. They're all shown on the map. Fleet Street, that's right. The fault lines and the massive flowing groundwater system set Masterton apart from most other New Zealand towns. Thus, the streams are our connection to the Tararuas, the Ice Age, the underground flow, pre-human New Zealand, and early Māori occupation. There are many ancient pā sites, kāinga sites, gardens, and urupā close to the streams. Māori gave the streams their names. These are the names we've tried to restore on the map. Most cultures venerate landscapes and structures from their historic past. In England, they protect and revere 5,000-year-old Stonehenge. On the Orkney Islands of Scotland, they care for Skara Brae, a 5,000-year-old village. But our 20,000-year-old dynamic living waterways are not getting the care they need, and they certainly have not been revered by those tasked to care for them. Apart from the eels and the koura, it's hard to see the fish in the streams. But if more planners were taught about our freshwater residents, we may see less interference with their habitat. Pollution, riparian planting removal, straightening and piping, sediment dumping, obstructions, and increases in water temperature are not helpful. The eels and the galaxids, the whitebait when they're little, all migrate up and down our awa between the ocean and the small western tributaries. While there are great aspirational values set out in our plan, like those in the chapters headed Eco and NACT, there've been much historical degrading and downgrading of our waterways in Masterton. I've seen how it works in more recent times for developers and their planning advisors undertaking subdivisions where a stream gets in the way. The labyrinth of acts, regulations, national environmental standards, the freshwater natural resources plan. That was the National Environmental Standards for fresh water, the Natural Resources Plan, the Regional Council rules, the Regional Management, the Resource Management Act, and the Wairarapa District Plan all start well in their opening aspirational objective statements, stressing the importance of streams and the creatures that live in them. But in practice, over many years, there's been an apparent dominating and overriding culture in the council, which encourages town growth, subdivisions, more asphalt, drains, pipes and roads, and has treated the streams as no more than stormwater drains, and has ignored the freshwater fish and invertebrates that reside in our streams. The subdividers find ways to get around the high aspirational standards by mitigation, offset, compensation, and remediation proposals to enable them to use heavy machinery to alter the natural landscape, to block, divert, pipe, and pollute the dynamic living streams with sediment. You can do what you like to the streams if you get a resource consent. It's all up to the subjective discretion of the consenting authority. Subdivision and resource consent applications are growth industries. Lay people cannot navigate the labyrinth of rules governing subdivision and the protection of the natural environment. It needs experts to help them find their way around all the rules drafted to protect the natural environment. Council supports subdivision because they need more growth and more ratepayers. Subdividers and their advisors and expert witnesses are doing well from subdivision of land. The streams are not getting the protection they should have received in the 33 years that we've been operating under the Resource Management Act. In my experience, walking all the Masterton streams to make the Tararua Highway map, the public do not know where the streams are, do not know their names, are unaware of the source and the outlet, and they have little idea of what lives in the water. They don't know why their stream has less water flow or that it has become a smelly creek and dried up completely. This is because 170 years of European occupation has resulted in the streams being out of sight in private properties or have been hidden from view in culverts and pipes, under roads, rail tracks, reduced rail tracks and buildings, bores, wells, cut-off drains and subdividers, waterway diversions have reduced the groundwater flow that keeps the streams flowing. One of the worst examples is the once proud Manga Akuta, shown on the map. In Schedule 11 of the plan and the associated Masterton map, there should be added the following 17 significant water bodies: Kurupuni Stream, Solway, Fleet Street Stream, Waiwaka, Waimateatea, Waipokaka, Mangatapuku, Awatakoru, Paki, Lansdowne, Te Ori, Miki, Kiriwakapapa, Taimara, Wakamoako, Black Creek and Serpentine. Why Schedule 11 does not show the significant water bodies which are marked, the Makakaweka, Makaura, Manga Akuta and Mangawhero, as having biodiversity, ecological and natural character values is a travesty. All the streams, including the 17 above omitted completely, should have the quality boxes ticked to show that they all have biodiversity, ecological, natural character, recreational, scenic, amenity, cultural and heritage values.
Thank you, Mr. Castine. Is there anything that you'd like to be draw our attention to on the map?
Anything I'd like to...
Anything that you'd particularly like to draw our attention to on the...
Well, just that Manga Akuta, I mentioned it there. Can you see it there on that? It's
Purple one.
Purple. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You can see it there.
Yep. Running.
That's the one, because it's like that, you can't see any water in it anymore. But it was very significant. There was a par site on it called the Manga Akuta down the rubbish tip. And in 1939, when Charles Bannister was writing in the Times Age, he was able to follow the water, and there was even a water wheel driving a joinery works in it. Hardly any water in it left now.
Uh-huh.
It is the smelly stream I'm talking about.
Okay.
So just on your map, I can't see the key. So I can't see the key on the map. Which of the piped parts is?
Oh, if a stripe, and Kirsten helped me make this, or she made it, and I just told her where to put things. When it's like that, stripy like that, it means that we can't see it. It's just really a depression in the ground.
Okay.
And except when there's heavy rain like this, you won't see any surface water. But the Manga Akuta is really, and it's largely out of sight because it goes under the CBD. That's the main Queen Street and Chapel Street and Dixon Street. passes under there.
So solid lines are open.
Yes.
Pipelines
yes,
are.
yeah, Yep, correct.
Pipeline.
Goes under Muckolda College, just there. Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you. Garstang, we'll just see whether there are any other questions in relation to your submission. Craig? No. Alistair, anything else?
No.
Robin?
None for me, thank you.
Yes, do you have any questions? Mr. Garstang, what I'm always interested in asking submitters is, what do you want us to do? And in your last two paragraphs, you've
That's what
focused on Schedule 11.
Yes. I realise they're the only two where I'm asking you to actually take some action.
Yes.
To add the fifth, all the streams, the 17 that got missed off, and to look at the schedule itself, which seems to sort of also, in my view, downgrade the value of the streams by not saying they've got any sort of real biodiversity. It's as if the fish are ignored.
Yes. So your relief would be for us to add the 17
those other streams,
but also to make it clear that that the significant water bodies do have biodiversity and ecological.
Yes. That's exactly what I would like to see happen.
If the panel was to do that, would that address all of your concerns?
Yes, it would, because, I realise that the Resource Management Act, while it says streams and what lives in them are very important, biodiversity is very important, those sort of general objectives, highly desirable objectives, can be overruled by either a regional council planning thing such as that one, I'm just forgetting the name of it now, but or a resource consent. And in a resource consent, there's often the proposals are made by the applicant for ways to ameliorate, to get around the problem with the stream that's in the way of what they want to do.
Sure, you'd appreciate and agree, no doubt, that the jurisdiction of this council is limited to land use and subdivision. Yes, and matters involving direct discharges or indirect discharges are captured by the regional plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard for a layperson, and although I've had a background in law, I've been out of the law for so long now that I'm just a layperson, and I'm only a citizen that is particularly interested in waterways.
Okay.
It's very hard for a layperson to sort of navigate all this.
Understood, and appreciate you coming along. It's not your key job. What will happen from this point on, Mr. Garston, is that the officers will consider your submissions and your presentations. They'll report back to us. Some of the matters that you've raised may affect other hearing streams other than this one.
Yes.
Dealing with significant water bodies. That's fine. I don't think you need to come back. We'll bank this information.
You're going to deal with the rural zone later on.
Next in October.
Yeah.
But there'll be specific hearing streams dealing with water bodies also.
Yes. Yeah.
Have a look at those reports when they come out and just see whether there's anything additional that you think you need to bring to our attention.
Thank you. I realise that the limitations what you guys can do, and I realise there's limitations on what we can try to get changed when we can't get changed. But I am observing, because I'm a person on the ground quite a lot looking at that. Since the resource management came in, I haven't seen the protections in many places that I thought might have come from the passing 33 years ago of the Resource Management Act.
Yes. Well, it's very clear.
Yeah.
We'll hear from the officers in 3 weeks' time when they present their written right of reply, and we'll deliberate in due course.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Coming, and I think it's great that we're all able to have that opportunity.
Thank you for the graphics too.
Thank you. I have to take the map away. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
To keep the small ones.
that's
Thank you.
quite all right. Thank you, Kirsten, for coming along. Also appreciate it. Hey. Next matter is the Helicopter Association. Association. Melna. Melna online. Any correspondence, please? Okay. Well, Mona was due at 11. It's late, but I didn't see him up in the last 2 minutes. I'll adjourn the hearing until either Mr. Milner turns up or the next submitter, which isn't due until 12 p.m. Karen Crow, the Butterbrick Board. The hearing is adjourned.